Good. Hello to Callum Norris. How are you today?
I'm great, man. Thank you very much for having me on here, Ruben. I appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me interview you today. So, can you tell me how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
So, I've been writing songs since I was about 16 years old. I've been playing in bands. Back then I started playing guitar when I was 14, and that kind of progressed through the years. I've just started getting into more different taste in music, and my passion really took flight whenever I started playing in a Black Sabbath tribute band called Sabbath the Aussie Years, and that band was with sort of a bunch of very experienced musicians, and uh, we we played for maybe about 2 years. I spent most of that time learning Tony Iommi guitar solos, so it was a really good period of my life where I was able to get lots of experience with people who are sort of more, they're better than me in terms of like just how they've been playing for longer and things like that. So that's when I really truly realized my passion for music, and then it was only in the last couple of years that I started to get into the blues music. That's when that passion sort of really began, and yeah, that's what led to me recording my most recent single, and putting it on the internet to see what happens with it.
So, what was it like going into the recording studio to record your debut single? What was that like?
Oh yeah, man, it was a great experience. The guy that I was recording with, the producer, is called Michael McCluskey, and he works out of a studio called Zero Hour in Korean, which would be my hometown. And I found the whole process. It was exciting, and it was fresh and new and fun, and it's quite a small little studio, but you can get a lot of good sounds out of it. So we spent about a day and a half recording it, and I released it maybe a month after that. So far the response has been great. It's got a couple of thousand streams and stuff like that. Um, it was a real good experiment to sort of dip my toes into it, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single, the only way I know?
Yeah. So the only way I know is it was a song that sort of came out of me being a bit unhappy and disgruntled with day-to-day life. I used to be a computer programmer, and I did that job for 6 years, and I studied for 4 years to get there. And once I finally got there, I realized that it wasn't really for me. I had other passions that meant more to me than just doing a day-to-day sort of 9 to 5. And just for me personally, it just wasn't working. So I had to change something, and I feel like the only way I know was a good reflection of that, and a good progression to moving on to other things. I dropped everything to kind of to do this, and so far it's working out pretty good. I'm playing gigs around the place, and I've found more than anything that uh, people have sort of rallied around me to encourage me to do this.
So, where do you get your inspiration for songwriting? Where do you get your ideas from?
Mm, it's a good question. So, I have a lot of influences, especially whenever it comes to guitar. I would consider myself a guitar player before I would be a singer. And being in the Black Sabbath band, tribute band, Tony Iommi would be a massive influence in terms of all of his riffs. They call him the Riff King, so he had a lot of riffs that resonated with me, and I tried to write things that sort of stick in people's heads, and that people really enjoy. Another influence would be Jimi Hendrix, the likes of Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then in more recent years, there's another artist that's come into my life called Robin Hinkle, and he is my mentor. He's an amazing masterful blues artist from San Diego in America, and I've been getting tuition from him and just mentorship in general over the last couple of years, and that's really helped me face all the challenges that come with being an artist, you know, day to day things. And his music and the way he's able to sort of portray things and uh, inspire you has really helped me, you know, specifically when it comes to having a really good rhythm and locking into that rhythm. I find that, you know, there's so many people that know how to play really well, but sometimes it gets overlooked that having a really important rhythm it's so important to all forms of music and how relatable it is, you know.
So, would you do a co-write with another blues artist or another artist in general?
At the moment, I'm kind of just writing most of my stuff by myself. Now, I do play in another band. It's a rock band called Deadly Sons, so I would do quite a lot of collaboration with them in terms of music. But for my own stuff, I would write it myself. You know, I might have a couple of friends here or there that, you know, whenever I show them the songs, they might listen to it and think, oh, you know what, that could do with a little bit of this or a little bit of that. You know, sometimes that's quite helpful whenever your friends who, you know, I have a lot of musical friends that can sort of add a little bit of insight, even if I don't take that on board, or if I do take it on board, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of helpful, you know. It's nice to hear other people's opinions on what you think, as long as you respect their opinions, you know. So yeah.
So you did say that you're going to be working on some new music soon. So what's it like being a full-time musician doing gigs
Yeah.
around Ireland? What's that like?
Yeah, so far, you know, I've only been doing the gigs for as a solo musician for maybe the past couple of months, you know, and it's only really started to take off a bit now where I'm getting more and more bookings and things. But the more it goes on, the better it gets. You know, I'm always improving my live set. That's something that I like to spend a lot of time on. You know, to try and reach those sort of feelings to the crowd, you know, the people that are there, they want to experience something that's a bit different and that's exciting and sort of gets them going, you know. I want people to leave feeling buzzing, you know, like they they can't talk about anything else other than that one thing that happened that night, you know. So that's kind of what I aim for in the live show. I want it to really relate to people and I want them to enjoy it and have fun.
So have you got any upcoming gigs you want to tell my listeners about?
Yeah, so I believe shortly after this is released, I've got one on the Saturday, the 5th of April, in a bar called Fat Willie's in Ballymoney. The next one is a more local to me bar. It's called the Bush House in Bush Mills. That's on the 6th of April. And then on the 13th of April, I'm playing in the Anchor Blues Club supporting the Duke Joint Blues Band. And that's, I believe, a Sunday. So yeah, that should be good fun. Those gigs. Something I want to note about the Bush House is, you know, recently I played a gig in there, and the response was incredible. You know, the fact that a local pub can kind of like get behind an artist that's from the area is like, it's very encouraging, and I'm very grateful to them for having me down there and booking me for more shows after the first one. You know, I think everyone really enjoyed themselves that night, so I look forward to playing there a couple more times.
Yes, you must have been proud to being asked back there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny, you know, I was only expecting them to book me one or two more gigs, but I went back and they booked me for five in a row. So you know, you can't complain about that.
Would you go any further afield, like the UK?
Absolutely, yeah. So at the moment, I'm kind of just, you know, I feel like I'm cutting my teeth on the local area, and I'm just trying to improve that set. So you know, that something somewhere down the line, absolutely, you know, that is something that I would love to do is go over to the UK or, you know, one of the gigs that I'm planning on attending is I'm going down to the Ballyshannon Blues Festival. It's the Rory Gallagher Festival at the end of May. So I'm gonna go down there and attend that, which will be, you know, a little bit outside of my usual radius. But the UK is definitely somewhere that I will consider in the future if people want to see it, you know.
Some great independent venues and other venues in the UK.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The there at the moment I haven't really got my eyes on any particular ones that are in the UK. You know, I'm still I'm still sort of like remaining in the local area so far where I am. But further afield certainly will appeal to me in the future whenever I'm maybe more prepared for that type of thing.
So, continue. What's it like being an independent artist for you?
Oh man, for me, you know, I like I've said, I've found that uh, the people that are around me, you know, they're all so encouraging and they want me to succeed. So it's it's I find that the kindness of even strangers as well, they'll come up to you and they'll say things like, you know, I really enjoyed your set or I really enjoyed your music, and and they would comment on how it's quite different from what they usually hear and things like that. And it's to me that sort of drives me onwards and it inspires me to do better. And so far, you know, for having only done it for a couple of months and taken that leap, I'm I feel like there's moments that occur now more so than ever that they feel like random little moments where people are they're like I don't know. It's just like they want you to do well, you know. It's and like to me that's really exciting. You know that they're trying their best to push me forward, and that's much like what you're doing. You know, with your radio show as well. You know, you're supporting independent artists. So there's a lot to be said for those people that maybe don't get noticed all the time, but they're the ones that are pushing forward the artists that are just coming out of those grassroots, you know.
So, finally, can some listeners where can they find you on your social media?
Yeah, so I've got a website. It's callumnorris.co.uk. That's two L's and two R's. And you should be able to find me on Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook is just Callum Norris. It's a page on Facebook, and Instagram it's Callum Norris _music.
Thank you. Let me chat to you today.
That's great. Thank you very much, Ruben. Much appreciated.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.